Catholic monks have existed for over 1,500 years. They live in monasteries, away from the world, structured entirely around one purpose: knowing God. Every hour of every day is accounted for. This includes multiple hours of prayer, work, sacred reading, and meals eaten in silence while someone reads scripture aloud. Now, the most common monastic order is the Benedictines, founded by Saint Benedict in 529 AD. He wrote a document called the Rule of Saint Benedict, and it's still in use today in monasteries across the world. The whole thing runs on one Latin phrase: ora et labora, pray and work. That's the entire day. Nothing is wasted, and every moment is given a purpose. Now, as someone who is trying to grow closer to God but whose face is always glued to a screen, I wanted to challenge myself to live out their daily routine for a week, which, after I did a bit of research, landed on this schedule. If you're unsure of some of the things that's written down here, don't worry, I'll explain them later. But before that, I'm gonna need you to pray for me because this is going to be hard. Good morning. It's currently just past 5 a.m. It's Palm Sunday, and time to go do some praying. And then after that, we'll do some more praying, and then I guess a little more praying. So I started off the day praying the Office of Readings, which along with all of these other prayers make up what is called the Liturgy of the Hours. And this is basically just a set of prayers that the church prays throughout the day in order to connect with God and sanctify each day. By having scheduled prayers, it allows you to transform ordinary moments into opportunities to encounter God. Fun fact, priests are obligated to pray the Liturgy of the Hours every single day. And while the rest of us don't have to, it is encouraged because it's a great way to deepen your spiritual life. Now, each of the hours, or prayers, tend to vary, but they typically involve an opening phrase asking God for guidance, a couple of psalms, scripture reading, a short reflection following the scripture reading, and a concluding prayer. So yeah, that's pretty much what the Liturgy of the Hours are. Quick note, I am doing this challenge during Holy Week leading up to Easter, so here are the things that won't be aligned to the schedule. Also, I can't attend Mass every day, but I'll still be going for most of the days because it's Holy Week. So for the times I'm not going, instead I'll go to the daily Mass readings and do more prayer. Apart from that, I'll be doing my best to stick to the schedule as much as possible. Anyway, after I finished praying the morning section of the Liturgy of the Hours, I washed my face and then had breakfast. Actually no, I prayed first and then I had breakfast. Now, the car ride to the church was about 13 minutes, and when I arrived, there were palms pretty much all over the place. You can see that because this is Holy Week with Good Friday coming up soon, all the statues have been covered, including the big crucifix at the front of the church. Anyway, we had our Palm Sunday Mass and went straight home just in time for our midday prayer. Okay, so today was kind of unsuccessful. I'll put on screen right now of all the things I was able to accomplish and of all the things that I wasn't able to accomplish. But to be fair though, this morning I had to go to Palm Sunday Mass at around 10 a.m. so that couldn't really be helped. And at night, my family actually went out to go buy some dinner and they came home pretty late. So I ended up having dinner quite late. But you know what? That's okay because things don't always go to plan, and sometimes you're just going to have to accept things as they are, as they happen, and just move on and try again and try and do better. So that's what we're going to do. And so the next morning, I woke up at 5 again to pray the Office of Readings and the morning prayer from the Liturgy of the Hours. After that, I also did a Lectio Divina, which is just Latin for divine reading, and it's a traditional Benedictine practice. Basically, this is just a way of praying with scripture, which involves 4 simple steps: reading a short passage, meditating on it, talking with God about it, and then silently contemplating on it. To be clear, this is not a way to study scripture. It's a way of letting God speak to you through it. The purpose is to reflect on what God may be saying to you in your life right now. It's not just about information, but about transformation. To help me with this, I used the Hello app. This is not sponsored, but I highly recommend it, especially if you're someone who struggles with prayer sometimes. Okay, so I've decided to just skip to the end because I reckon it would be pretty boring if I just showed you what happened every day, because you just see me doing a lot of praying. So now I'm just going to review what the week was like now that I've completed and finished the challenge. But before that, let me prove to you that I actually did the challenge. So here are a bunch of clips of me actually waking up at 5 a.m. and here is the screen time of the app that I used to pray the Liturgy of the Hours. So we can see on Sunday I spent 4 hours and 7 minutes on the app, and on Monday I spent 4 hours and 1 minute, 4 hours 7, 3 hours 4, 3 hours 41, 1 hour 36 and 1 hour 8. Now I'll explain to you why it got lower at the end, but I'll get to that. But yeah, as you can see, I did a lot of praying. Now I'm not trying to brag about how well I did the challenge and show off how much I prayed. In fact, I want to talk about the opposite, which was I kind of failed. Overall, I was able to consistently wake up at 5 a.m, which was good, except for one morning because the night before I wasn't able to sleep and I decided that, you know what, if I woke up at 5 a.m, that's just gonna mess me up. So I decided to sleep in a bit. I also made sure not to bring my phone to the dining table whenever I ate my meals because you're not supposed to do that in the challenge. And I think I did the most important thing, which was I consistently prayed the Liturgy of the Hours. Although I did miss a couple of the hours throughout the week, I think overall I did pray a lot of them for the most part. But now the parts that I didn't do well was pretty much everything else. I very much failed at sticking to working during the working blocks throughout the week, and very much failed at keeping the 1 hour silence before bed. I'm not used to sticking to schedules because I'm more of the kind of guy that's like, I'll do it when I feel like it. So that's probably why I failed. I'm also a very slow reader, so it takes me a lot longer than 15 minutes to read some of the hours from the Liturgy of the Hours. Like some of them might take me half an hour or 45 minutes or maybe even 1 hour, and that will kind of bleed into the next thing I have in the schedule, which then puts off the whole thing and messes the whole thing up. But as I said earlier, I'm not that disappointed in my performance for the challenge because I think I did the most important things, which was waking up early at 5 a.m. and praying the Liturgy of the Hours regularly. However, as you saw earlier, I spent not a lot of time on the app on Good Friday and Holy Saturday. And here's why. On Good Friday, we woke up early to go to attend the Stations of the Cross at church in the morning. After that, we had confession. Now, long story short, in the confession, one of the main things I kind of talked to the priest about was my struggle with trying to be holy. Because of my desire to want to be a holy person and not sin, obviously, has gotten to the point where I overthink kind of every small action, word, or thought that happens throughout my days. And basically, he made me realize that I put a lot of pressure on myself to try and be holy and not sin, and also that I'm relying a lot on my own efforts to be holy and not to sin, instead of relying on God. And so the problem isn't that I'm trying to be holy and not sin and be more like God, but it's that I'm trying to do all those things by myself instead of relying on God, and I'm putting too much pressure on myself, pretty much. But yeah, the priest gave me a very light penance to do, and then I decided that, you know what, I'm just going to kind of do my own thing, take my own time and pray at my own pace and do my own prayers and not put all that pressure on myself. Obviously, I knew I was still doing the challenge, but I just didn't think that sticking to the Catholic monk schedule, which as we know is very intense, I didn't think that it would be helpful for my spiritual health. But I think we can really learn something from not only the challenge but also my confession, and it's that sometimes we have our own plans and we have our own ways of trying to get closer to God, but God might have other plans for us, and he has other ways of bringing us closer to him, which is always going to be better than what we think. And that's the lesson I want to take away from this video and this challenge. It's really just let go and let God. And doing the challenge also made me realize that Catholic monks really pray a lot. If you enjoyed the video and found it valuable, remember to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.